Hi everyone, it's Catherine here from Cat V Stitches. This is my channel about cross stitch, a little bit of knitting, sometimes about cats, and now, a surprise that is mentioned in the channel, a puppy. I have a puppy, yes. But before we go into that, first of all, hi to everybody, to my returning viewers, my commenters, love you all. Thank you so much for staying with me through the chaos that are my normal videos. And for any new subscribers, which I know there have been a few, I want to welcome you all, and I want to do a quick shout out to Lauren, who mentioned me on her Flosstube. Lovely mention at Flossabilities. Thank you so much, it was greatly appreciated. But hi everyone. Now, advance warning, I say so a lot and I say love it a lot. Not going to apologise for it, it just happens, can't control it. There you go, deal with it. Sorry, a bit distracted here because I have the little puppy down here. Before I show you her, quick backstory. Yes, I have 5 cats. I love animals. I don't have any kids. I've got nieces and nephews to deal with that. But I do love animals, and for years all I could ever get were cats, which was fine because I absolutely adore cats. Love them to death. But that was all I could have because I was working in an office all the time. So I'd be out the house 11-12 hours a day. So it was unfair of me to get a dog. And you know, to get somebody to come in, well, anyway, I couldn't get a dog at that point, but I've always wanted a dog. And then when the panini started, I was like, oh yeah, I'll get one in 6 months. I'll get one in 6 months. I'll get one in 6 months. And then everything happened over the last 2 and a bit years. Work. I won't go into it. If for some reason you are interested in it and you've not watched any of my previous videos, I go into everything in some of my Stitch With Me's and some of my other videos. But I kept putting it off when I shouldn't have. I should have got it right at the beginning, but I kept putting it off, and it was something that would have brought me a huge amount of joy, but I just kept putting it off and putting it off. And then I was at my parents' on Sunday, and I was telling my mum, I'm a woman of a certain age, and in the not too distant future I am going to hit that thing that hits all women eventually. I think you know what I'm talking about. If we were to say we're at Disneyland, I'm in the queue. I can see the ride up ahead of me, but I'm still in the queue. But I am in the queue. And what I found is around a certain time I start to feel a little bit anxious. And we all feel anxious at times. Of course we do. And I know there are some people who suffer from anxiety, and I'm not talking about that because that's a completely different ball game. But when you're stressed and things like that, a level of anxiety is natural as well. But what I found was more than that, it was ramped up. Not to the point that I was crippled by it, but it had started to ramp up, and I was having this discussion with my mum to see, as you do. And my mum was a nurse as well, who used to deal with this kind of thing as well. She used to run a clinic where she would give advice on all of this. And I said, look, did you feel this as well? And my mum was actually very lucky, and she didn't have any serious symptoms. But she was saying, no, this can happen, and blah blah blah, and we were having a discussion about it. And then she suddenly turned around and said, why don't you get the dog, Catherine? It'll cheer you up, it'll keep you calm, and also it'll get you out walking, and and it will do nothing but enhance your life. You're in a position where you can afford to do it. You're not working from home you're working from home and then popping in the office, and you're only ever out the house for a couple of hours, and blah blah blah. And straight away I said, in 6 months. And she just looked at me and she dropped the subject. Excuse me, sorry. We will get to stitching in a minute, and the dog obviously, but I just thought I'd get this little preamble out of the way first of all, and then we can get to the good stuff. But on the way home from my parents' house from Sunday, I was just kind of thinking, oh, you know, wouldn't it be nice to get a dog and that? But then I was thinking, well, if I did get a dog, really, I'd need to get a dog who'd be good with cats. And I'd really need a puppy, because I'd need to bring a dog in who would instantly be able to be trained to recognise that the cats are kind of like top dogs. It's me, then Ruby. Sometimes it's Ruby, then me. Ruby's my eldest cat, but I needed a dog that would do well with the amount of cats I have, and really that's a golden retriever. If you know, type into Google, you know, best dog with cats, it's golden retriever wins out on most polls. And we'd had a golden retriever as well. My parents had a golden retriever. It was the last dog they had, and they were heartbroken when they lost her, but she was I do apologise. She was the most gorgeous dog, and her temperament was just amazing. So I had that requirement, and I made a decision on Tuesday. I was like, do you know what? Sod it. I'm not going to wait 6 months. I'm going to do this, because it will bring me nothing but joy, and it will, and you know, by the time she's ready to go on walks and that, it'll be really nice weather, and you know, it'll be healthy for everybody. So first of all, obviously looked at rescue centres to see if there were any, but there weren't any, and to me that was heartbreaking, because all my cats are rescued. They're, you know, they were all, and my original cats, 2 cats who are no longer with us, they weren't, but since then every cat has always been a rescue. So I wanted to do a rescue, but I was talking to a friend at work, and she then mentioned, she said, I can't believe you just said that, because her friend, they have a golden retriever, a female golden retriever, and they'd allowed her to have 1 litter. They're not breeders, they were just, before they had her done, she was just going to have 1 litter. And they'd sold all the puppies bar 1, which they had sold originally, but the person who had bought her had to pull out. So they had 1 female puppy left. And so I pulled the trigger and I got her. And so I then had to scramble I went to see her Wednesday, and I had to say, look, I can't collect it till Friday, because as luck would have it, that Wednesday and Thursday were 2 days that I had to actually be in the office. And also I had to prep my house. I've had to do a complete rearrange of the dining room, so this is a new position behind me. So I've got a corner in the dining room just over there that fits a crate in, but also she's got like a little den area around it. I've got gates all around it, so it's not just the crate, it's like a nice little area for her. So everything had to be moved around and tidied up and picked up and rearranged. And then my back garden, I live in a terraced house, but it does have a back garden. It's not massive, but it's not been tidied, you know, since before winter started, so I had to kind of like do a mass thing in there, and several trips to the tip later. Everything was ready. And then Friday, if I forgot to say, today is Sunday the 22nd, but Friday after work I went and I picked her up and brought her home, which is why I'm looking a little bit frazzled now. But she is everything I'd hoped and more. She is so chill, but chill in a good way. She's still loads of fun. But with the cats, it's helped, because if a cat comes near her, she doesn't panic and doesn't bark at them or jump at them. She just literally gets a little, you know, wiggly, but that's it. So the cats, okay, they'll kind of like back away from her and sniff at her and back away from her, but she's not being hissed at, she's not being swiped at, nothing. I mean, they don't go out of the way to come near her, but I will insert in, if I remember, a quick picture of what did occur yesterday with Ruby and the puppy. So they weren't right next to each other, but Ruby slept near her, which to me is a good sign. If, you know, Ruby always leads the way in these kind of interactions, and the others it might take a little bit longer, but it gives me hope that things will work out. So if I remember, I'll insert in that picture somewhere around here. But anyway, I am frazzled, yes, but loving every second of it. Potty training is ongoing. She now, if she's outside and she needs to go, she will go out there, whereas when I first got her, she would wait until she came back in. And she's like 90% pad trained. There are some, she has some misses every now and then. Like, I started recording this before and she just had a little near miss, but I have a carpet cleaner and blah blah blah. But without any further ado, I am going to go grab her and I will show you her. So I don't know where she's. Oh, she's down here by my feet. Bless her, she's like a little shadow. She'll follow me everywhere. But give me 1 second. Come here, baby. Come here. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, come here. Okay, so this is Poochie. How cute is that face? Yeah, so she's not a tiny puppy, like I said. She was with the family a little bit, you know, nearly 2 weeks longer than, so she's nearly 10 weeks. But it has worked out perfectly. Oh, she's all tired at the moment. Sorry, sweetheart. She is so chill. From the moment she came home, she was affectionate and lovely. And at night, she goes in the crate and for a couple of minutes she'll bark a bit and that. But then when she realises that that's that, she quietens right down, and then in the morning she's fine and happy to see me. So, yeah. Look at that. Oh, okay, baby. I'll put you down now. But anyway, yeah, so this is the reason why for the last week my stitching has basically been non-existent, and for the next week or so until we get a routine worked out, it's probably going to be a little bit, if there is any, I'll be surprised, but I am missing it though. But this is worth it. Look at that face. I'm going to be covered in hair now and I'm wearing black, so that was well thought out on my part. Okay, so do you want to, oh, okay, you can stay there for a little bit. So let's get on with the stitching. There has been stitching because it has been 4 weeks since my last stitchy confession, and there have been some finishes, and a surprise finish that I hadn't planned on finishing yet, but I'll come to that in a minute. So let me get to my list. Oh no, sorry, before I do say anything else and before I forget, I want to do another little shout out to my lovely friend Hannah, who I have met through doing, well, I've not met because she lives in America, but who I have got a lovely made a lovely connection with because of this. And this is the reason why I did Flosstube, so I could do this. But Hannah ever so kindly sent me a little stitchy goodness. Well, it's not so much stitchy, but it is goodness, and it was, I loved it. So Hannah, I know I have already thanked you, but I wanted to thank you again for that. So Hannah sent me some something that I've always wanted to try, Girl Scout cookies, the mint ones, and Hannah, they were delicious, so thank you very much. She sent me this gorgeous little bits and bobs bowl, and it's a Pioneer Woman one. I absolutely love it. It's just amazing. It's put safely away, out of way of cats, and obviously now out of the way of the puppy here. But I love it, so thank you very much. And also a very, very funny cat needle minder, which is upstairs at the moment. I completely forgot to bring it down, but it's it's a riff of the Police song, Every Breath You Take is Every Stitch You Take. Yeah, I'll show you in the next Flosstube, but it's very funny, and very, very, very appreciated. So Hannah, again, thank you, sweetheart. Really do appreciate that. And there's something on its way to you as well. But anyway, moving on. Oh, there we go. Let me just move this. Sorry, I've still got her on my lap. Let me just take a quick sip. So let's start showing the actual stitching, shall we? So the first one, it was my 24/7 project, and this so this is the idea where you work on something every day for either, was it 25 minutes or 25 stitches or whatever, but it's just basically to get you to work on something every day. And I just wanted to do it on this project because there was a big thing that needed stitching on it, and I just wanted to get it done so I could then just come back to it whenever I wanted. It's Lindy Stitches Mary Mary Needleworker. So this is what it will look like when it is done, and I will insert in, I'll just do a blanket thing now. Throughout this I will insert in pictures where it's needed of what it looked like last time I showed it, because I always forget, or I sporadically remember. Sporadically? Oh, you know what I mean. I occasionally remember to say it, but if I forget I'll just say it now. I will insert in pictures of what they look like before where needed. So I managed to get that big skirt done. So well, obviously it was this that I needed to fill in. I had chosen to do this because this is one of my first whips, and I'd chosen to do this when I was doing everything in 28 count. So that meant it's massive. But it is now done, and it looks glorious. It was worth the pain. It does look like she's hopping, but look at that. That is just lovely. When it was finished, I was just so happy. That is Weeks Dye Works Seafoam. Oh, that's Weeks Dye Works Seafoam, and as you can see, I've started on the boot as well, but this can just go in my rotation now. But I'd stalled on this for so long. Do you want to go down? There you go. I'd stalled on this for so long just because this was just so much stitching, and I'd decided I wanted to get maximum variegation out of it, so that meant individual X's going across, so that, excuse me, that made it even more painful. But I'm really glad that's done now, and I love the effect, so I am actually really happy that I chose to do it that way. So that's whip number 1. Next one I'm going to show is some knitting, and this is a finish. It's a simple bit of knitting, and it's quite funny actually. So when I am working in the office, it's an old mill. So we got an office in this old mill, so it's this huge building, and it's all made of brick, and heating is horrendous. So while it's been cold, that office has been really cold. My boss is desperately trying to find somewhere new, and so I was having to wear like cowls and everything because it was that cold. So I started knitting another cowl because I was like wearing the same 2 every day. And of course, now that I've finished knitting this, the temperature's improved in the office and I don't need it. But I've got it for next year. It does need blocking, and I just have some ends I need to weave in, but it's done. This is doing the marl technique where you do it with 2 strands. So you do it with, this is a variegated wool, this bit. So that's 2 strands of the same colour. Then you use 2 strands, 1 of each colour, and then it just fades through. And these are my normal Fibre Space Vivacious, and this is DK wool. And this is just so soft and warm, and even softer and cuddlier because it's double. Oh, what's going on there? I just need to neaten it up because it is it's DK plus it's 2 strands, so it's like, oh, it's gorgeous. I do have another one of these, but with different colours. So that'll be ready for next year. So that's my first finish, which I'm going to put behind me. And then my other knitting whip is just, this is a very long-term project. This is going to take for ages. It's going to be a shawl, so it's got 2 front panels and 1 back panel. I've already done one of the front panels, so this is the other one that I'm knitting at the moment, and it's taking bloody ages. So I've not got the, nope, I have forgotten to bring the completed panel so I can show you, but yeah, that, well, this one you'll be seeing a lot of, because I tend to knit on this just before I go to bed. I'll just maybe watch something on my iPad while I'm in bed and just knit a couple of rows on that. Yeah, she's out for the countdown there. Excuse me. Okay. I've got nowhere to put my whips. There we go. Just put this away. So next we have a finish. I have missed one out. Yes, it's this. So we have the first of my 2 finishes, and this is an FFO, and it normally hangs on that little hook there, but it is my Kraken by Quiltify Designs, and I love it. I think it's amazing. This is just not an expensive frame. I found a store on Etsy that do pre-made frames, but also they show you the frame type and give you a selection of colours, and you can do it made to measure. So I just got this one, so it's, I think it's 1/2 inch border all the way around, and I think it just worked. I just think it looks great. I was worried that should I do a blue one, but then I thought no, it's a bit too much blue, but then I really like it with this grey. I mean, this is just normal plywood here, so I can just paint over this if I ever want to change the colour. But I'm absolutely loving this. So I use Gloriana threads for this. I think it's Arctic Blue, Pink Rose, and it's some purple for the people. I'm sorry, that was absolutely terrible for me. I go into it in my last video if you want to see what threads I used, but absolutely love it. So as I said, this is normally hung up on the wall, and it looks really good. So this is my Kraken done. So now I need to start another Kraken pattern, because I am now Kraken obsessed. So I have my I have my Kraken necklace here. I do have a Kraken Haid, and I have a smaller Kraken pattern. Said Kraken far too many times now. But yeah, so that is the first of my finishes. Now my next finish was a total surprise, because I think I'd actually said in my last video that I was going to work on it every Friday, and then I planned to have it finished before summer started. And that's a big, by the way, hint as to which pattern we're talking about. Well, then something happened that completely changed my plans. And no, it wasn't getting the puppy, it was the Witchy Stitcher releasing details of her new stitch along. So she previously did one which was the cryptid Sal. So she gave you a frame, and then every week she would release a new little cryptid. I'll insert a picture of what mine looked like when it was finished, because I forgot to grab it from where it's hung. And so she has now brought out a new one called Supernatural. Now, not based on the TV series, but it, you know, I think it seems like Dracula and all that kind of stuff. So I had to do it. I had to do A because I just love the cryptid one, and B because I happen to have fabric to do it, and still a shit ton of 310, which is heavily featured in her stitch alongs. So I did the other one in 28 count Valour. I bought a big sheet of it because I didn't know how much I would need, so I still have the other half of it, and it will just fit on here. Now I'm going to finish it as a hanging like I did. I'll finish it as a hanging, a wall hanging like I did the cryptid one, so I only need, I don't need that big of a margin, so I measured it out and I reckon it will just do it. So I don't have to buy any fabric for it, and it's all DMC, so I'm very happy with that. So I've obviously bought it, and it starts on June the 1st. So when I was doing the which is the cryptid stitch along, I used to do the drops Friday, and then and then Saturday when I came home. Friday when I came home from work I'd start it, and then on Saturday I would finish it. And when it finished I was like, what do I do now? So I'm really excited that it's back again. So hopefully things will have calmed down here enough that I can get on this, because I do really want to keep up with this like I did the cryptid one. But all of that to say, I rushed to get summer done so it'd be out of the way and ready to put up on the wall, like spring is there when summer starts towards the end of June. And I got it done. Now it's not quite FFO'd, it's 95% FFO'd, but there you go. There is summer. But which way? There you go. All done. So that's Cricket Collection Summer. Show you that up close. I love this this material I found. I think it goes really, really well with the colour. So this is using all the called for threads, and it's some, I think it's a lavender witchelt, but it's just turned out so nice. But this now means that I have done all of the seasons for Cricket Collection. So I thought I might just, anybody who's interested possibly in doing it, obviously this is summer, that is spring up in the corner there, which I absolutely love. Then this is winter, and this, oh, I love this one too. This is autumn. Autumn is my favourite season, so this I just j'adore. Yep, this I did substitute the colours out, so these are all a bit more, you know, they're obviously variegated, whereas the DMCs aren't, but I think it's colouring cottons and some classic colour works in there. But if you go back to some of my previous videos, you'll see what I used for this, or if you want to know, just drop me a comment. But so that's autumn, but I've also done 2 months at the moment, so obviously I've done October. This was actually the first one I did. This is what made me fall in love with these Cricket Collection ones. There's October, and August, which is my birthday month, which again is another glorious one. Look at those seagulls, they're just so amazing. So it's August, and I have, let me show you the ones I still have to do. I've not got every month because I do love Cricket Collection, but I don't love every Cricket Collection one, or they're not all ones that I want to stitch, let's just put it that way. So I have to do September, which is probably going to be the next one that I start. January, which was sent to me by one of my lovely lovely channel members, or subscribers, sorry. That's January. This one's so cute. And then I have Welcome, which is a really nice springy one. I like that. And I have Welcome Home. So there's none others that I'm really, I mean, I might at some point buy some of the other months. I don't see myself doing all of them because there's some of them that I don't, okay, I'm going to say it, there's some that I don't really like, but these ones I do love. And then I've just thought I'd show you this. I think I saw this, the channel Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. I think she just got this in her shop. It's Sheepy Hollow, and I just thought this was so funny. So this has kind of jumped to near the front of my list to stitch. There you go. Is it going to focus? I think you can see that, can't you? Let me just... Ah, there you go. Sheepy Hollow. And there's a couple of... so that's in there as well. But yeah. So those are my Cricket Collection month ones and some of the other word ones she's got, whatever you want to... however you want to call them. But yeah. So I'm just so happy now. I've got all my seasons done, so I can chill when it comes to the changing of the season, and so they all go up there basically, so I just swap them out every time the season changes. So those are my two, well, pretty much FFOs. So next whip is this is a cool one. So this is another Prairie Moon one. So I've got my two Prairie Moons up on here. So that's Last Tango and that is Stitch Night. And I have started Zombies. So there we go. There you are. And this. So this is on 28 count Haunted, which is what I'm doing all of these on. How funny is that? That is just, to me, the funniest thing ever. So it's that flamingo, just brilliant. It just looks so cool. Oh my god, that's my stomach growling. I hope you can't hear that. But yeah, so that's this witch here I've started on, and I almost didn't want to put this down, but that's when I realised that the Witchy Stitch had got the new sal out, and I just wanted to get summer finished, and I was so close to finishing Kraken, I was like, nope, let's do these two. But yeah, so there we go. So this, I can't remember if I had started this. No, I hadn't started this in the last Flosstube. So yeah, there we go. This is using the called for, which are a mix of, let me see now, it's a mix of Belsoir and 1 or 2 MPI, and to be honest, oh, and two water lilies, which are for the witches themselves, the green on the witches. And to be honest, the oh, sorry, just having a little grumble down there. The Belsoirs are all ones that are used in these as well, so I've kind of just substituting colours out so I don't have to buy any new ones. So they're, you know, they're all being used basically on multiple projects, so I didn't mind shelling out for them. So that is Prairie Moon. Next, okay, so this is another start, and it's Carolyn Manning Peacock Topaz. But I think I might have a tiny little bit of Carolyn Manning fatigue. I'm not saying that I no longer love them, because that's my oh my god, amethyst. The name just left me. So that's Amethyst, which I absolutely love and has pride of place in the middle of the wall there. So I definitely do want to stitch this, but I think because to finish that, it was like a marathon, and so now I kind of like, right, okay, I've done myself with the Carolyn Mannings for a little bit. And also, to make matters worse, I did myself no favours. Let me get the picture. So that is done on 14 count Ada. Let me just show you what this looks like. So that is what it will look like when it is finished. Just love those colours. I got clever and thought, you know what, I'm going to do this on 18 count. And I actually mentioned this, I think, in my last, I think it was my last YouTube. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this in 18 count using 2 strands because the coverage, you know, it's like I've got some things that I'm doing 36 count and 2 strands just gives out, love the coverage on it, forgetting that linen 36 count, although strictly speaking 18 count and 36 are kind of the same, they're not, because Ada is a totally different animal to linen. Linen is much more forgiving and it can accommodate the stitches better, whereas Ada is a lot stiffer, and yeah. But I hadn't really thought that through, so I happily started this on 18 count, and within about half an hour it was difficult to get the stitches going through. It just did not look neat. So I went down a size, and in fact, sorry, before I do, one of my commenters did mention that it may be a little bit difficult, and you were spot on. So thank you for that. So I immediately, just before I got far with it, I just stopped and restarted it again, but this time on 16 count, and this is kind of like a minty fabric, and I've not done that much, but it started, and I reckon I'll be back to this soon because it is actually very relaxing stitching, because it's very, it's very, very easy, and I do love the colours on it. But that is my start on this so far, so just a teeny start, but it's a start. So as I said, this is 16 count Ada, and I think it's just like a kind of like minty green colour. Have I still got it in here, my aborted attempt? Oh, here are all the colours on this. How glorious are those colours? They're lovely. The greens and the blues. So yeah. So there's that. I keep forgetting that I'm going to take pictures of these, and I'm putting them all away. Next one is it's Hollandse Merklap, which I can never pronounce right, so I'm going to have to live with that one. Oh, I've not got the picture on the front, that'll help. So this is Jeannette Douglas. This was my Whitgo project for last month, and I kind of carried over a little bit. This was my April. Wait, what month are we? We're May out. Yeah, we're May. Oh, this was my April Whitgo. So I did another session on it after my last Flosstube, and that is what it is going to look like when it is finished, and I just absolutely think this is glorious. Just brilliant. So I'm doing this on the colourful fabric, which is 32 count light mocha, but I am not doing it 1 strand over 2. I am doing it 2 over 2 because I prefer the coverage. Sorry, I'm trying to get this back in here, and I do apologise for the crinkling. And this is in one of my glorious William Morris bags from Patchworkpawprint. I think these are beautiful, these bags. So this 32 count light mocha, it is using the call-for threads, and I'll have inserted a picture in as what it was, but I can basically tell you I've just worked on that border on this side. So there you go. So I am at the bottom now. So there are some specialty stitches that I need to do that have not been done yet on these flowers, but I just thought I would get the border done. So the next time I work on this, I'll just carry on the border, because it's actually quite easy to do this border. It's a nice, you know, not simple, but it is, once you get into it and you've got the colours out there, it's just as well just to carry on. So next time I get this out, I'll just, like I said, continue working across the bottom and then come up the top and pray to the god of stitching that that border does match. I counted it about 20 times, but sometimes that doesn't matter. There you go. So, it's really, really funny. I know I have said this before, but in one of my earlier videos, I was like, you know, no judgment on people who do buy project bags, but I'm going to make my own. I'm not going to buy project bags. Yeah, right. Oh, I need to put the pattern in there. Okay, next one is talk about project bags. Another Patchworkpawprint one. Oh, lovely, just lovely. Let me show you the inside of it, because the inside of it is glorious as well. Oh, that's the dog, not me, if that's been picked up. My stomach is growling, but not quite that loud yet. So this is the big red, the big mother, the big red ship of life, and I'm doing this. Again, this was at a time when I was only stitching things on 28 count, and this is 28 count platinum. Although, to be honest, I do like the size of this one. I think it is good. But there we go. So I have almost got, I think I've just got one more set of these to do, and I've then reached the edge of the border here. And I'm doing this in, this border is being done in variegated. And to be honest, I am not enjoying the experience on this. It's not, there's no flow to it to get a really good variegation. I'm not enjoying it, because again, I started off doing full cross and it has been a bit painful, but I am loving stitching on the rest of it, because this is being done in a Silks for You silk. The variegated one I'm using is DMC 115. There's nothing wrong with this thread. This is lovely. This is the red to black. This is the one that goes red to black, although you can't really see. Hang on. There you go. You can see it there. This is lovely. And if I was doing something, for example, like the Kraken here, where it's, you know, more straightforward, that would be fine. But it's just painful going on this. So I'm not enjoying that. But the rest of the silk is, like I said, in Silks for You, it's darker than this. Let's see if this will darken the tone a little bit. No, it's still showing. It is a darker, richer red than what it's showing on here, but it's PR034, and it is lovely to work with. So I don't know yet, but sorry, let me just show you that again. So that's where we're up to. I'm doing this in the variegated. There's a border that goes down the side. I'm not going to do that in variegated. I'm going to do that in the red, and I have not yet decided if I'm going to do this in variegated or just keep it in the normal red and then just have this as a kind of like statement bit at the top in the variegation, because it's that painful. But it depends. I'm equating, I know any mothers out there are probably going to kill me this, but I'm equating it to childbirth. By the time I get to the bottom of it, will I have forgotten the pain, and will I be happy to do it in the variegation, or will the pain have remained? So I am putting a pin in making decision. The sides are definitely going to be done in just the red, but as for the bottom border, I have At the moment I'm thinking red, but we'll see what happens in many months time when I get down to the bottom. But yeah, so that's big red ship of life. Every now and then I think, why didn't I just get the reasonably sized or the small one? But then I look at the pattern and I'm like, no, this is why I got the big one, because I just love everything that's on there. So that is that one. This is on my Whip Go board, this as well. So this hopefully in the coming months will. Oh, sorry, Whip Go. I know I mentioned it before and I forgot to say. I know a lot of people do know about it, but I'm not going to assume that everybody does. It was something that Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff came up with to help herself work on her whips throughout the year. It's like bingo. You just have like a bingo board, 25 things on there and 25 things on there, and one of them is a free square, and she calls 2 numbers every month and you work on whatever is in that particular square. So I have my larger projects or ones that I've not worked on for a while that I want to get some progression on there. So I'll be coming to them shortly actually, but this is on my board. So when it does come up, for all of the projects I got on my board, it's to work 5 sessions on. Now a session is normally about 4 hours, and I've changed it again, or 500 stitches, whichever comes first. I did initially say 1,000 stitches, but that's too much when it's not a full coverage where you're just doing one colour. So now it's either 4 hours or 500 stitches, and that is one session. But yes, yeah, so that's Ship of Life. Next, right, so this is the first of my May projects on the Whip Go board, and it's one of my long dogs, and it is You Belong to Me. Where are you? Where are you? Here we go. You Belong to Me. Now, this is a magnificent pattern. It truly, all the long dogs are. I love these monochrome ones, but this is the bane of my life, because this is the one where there's an issue when you put it into Pattern Keeper, in that on the columns, so the page columns, it misses off the last column. And when I first started this, I didn't know about it, and a very lovely viewer told me about it. And even though I know about it, I still occasionally, you're happy, you're happily stitching away, I still forget about it every now and then. And the times I've forgotten about it, I've been able to fix it. But the latest time I forgot about it was in this area here. And I've miscounted, so I thought I'd be clever and count along and then work this way across for some bizarre reason. And I've come a cropper because I've missed a column. But so it's this area here. So I don't know if you can see, I did little stitches here and counted them all the way across here and then started working here. It was just easy for how I had it set up in the Q-snap to work this way. Sorry, well there's what it looks like now. There you go. So I should have put in a picture somewhere of what it was. So I was happily working my way across here to meet up here, and I got to about here. So this bird is fine because this bird was done at a different time, as I was just working on these buildings, and that's when I realised I was 1 stitch short. Oh my god, 1 bloody stitch short. I'd already done all of this, and there wasn't a chance in hell that I was frogging that out. So what I'm doing is forgetting that I've done that and just going to miss out a column. I'm just going to find a column where it doesn't really make much difference and just carry on stitching, and then just add an extra column of stitches here. I can get away with it because I'll just, right at the very end here where this building is, I'll just put another column, just from there to there, just another column there, and then everything else, make sure, and again just add another 2 little stitches onto there. the issue is there. I know it's there. And yet, every time, I bloody forget. There are no words. There are truly no words. But this looks glorious. I'm using DMC on here. It's, I always forget, it's 7... Nope, that's not this project. I always forget it's 718. So I've got a nice load of them there. And I think this is Stormy Grey 32 count Zweigart. And love it. Actually, let me check the name of that, because this is really nice fabric, this, so I don't want to get it wrong if anybody's interested in doing it. Let me go to my whip details for you. All my whips on here. And this one, You Belong to Me, is done on, no, it's, my apologies, it's Vintage Grey Zweigart. Oop, and that is, oh, there you go, there's my back. Not too bad. That's actually quite neat for me. There you go. I love that bird. I love this. It's so cool. But I'm about 23% on this now. This is stitching up so quickly. It's not as big as Pilgrim, which I've done, which isn't actually up on the wall at the moment, but it's, I'm enjoying that. So there's that one. And again, I've put it away when I'm going to be taking a photo. Next one is my other Whip Go one, and this is a Cricket collection. This is Sleepy Hollow. I'm glad this one got called, because last month it was Skeleton Crew, so I got some really good progression on that. And this month, this needs another session actually this month, and I'm hoping that this will allow me to finish this middle panel, which if I do, I'll be overjoyed about. So I'm doing it like this, a cryptid like this. I know some people have recently finished it as one long thing, and that looks glorious. But I'm doing it as a flat fold, now that I can do flat folds. So yeah, I'm almost finished on that middle panel. So this is 28 count. This is fabric I dyed myself. This was just, it was either cream or platinum Zweigart, 28 count, and there you go. So that tree is complete. So all of this side is fully completed, the horses, the hill, and it's just this here that needs to be completed. So I should have, the picture will have come up somewhere about what it looked like, but there we go. Really love it. I'm really liking the colour on this fabric as well. There we go. So I had to, though, change the letters at the bottom. I had to change the colour of them, because I think you can see on that, I mean, they're already on this fabric, which is a bit darker than mine. They're very close, but on this, it turns out that they're almost identical to the colour of this fabric, and they just weren't showing. So I just took it a shade or so lighter so it would show up. But I think that's turned out really well. So if I can finish this panel in this month, I'll be very happy with that progression. So next we have a new start, and it's one of my Mill Hill kits, but it's only a teensy tiny new start, because I need to get used to stitching on perforated paper. I'm going to carry on with it, but I just need to get used to doing it. And I also, where's the picture? That's not the picture. There's the picture. So it's Moonstruck I'm doing. I wonder, can you guess why? So literally a teensy start there. There's a button that I've just made a needle minder out of. It's just a tiny start there, but I wanted to buy this, so I just got this dirt cheap off Amazon, so I'm going to just get some pins and stick it to it, so I've got a little bit more of a secure base to stitch from. And this, obviously, the Mill Hill kit, so it's got the beads and everything there, and I managed to sort out the threads. One day Mill Hill has got to put them on a little card for you. Such a pain having to sort them out. So that's my last new start. I mean, I know my plan was to have all of these new starts, but this month just, I didn't want to. I just didn't feel like starting loads. I mean, I've started 3, so that's not too bad, but I was just enjoying stitching the things I was stitching. So as is usual with me, the plans went out the window. I have one last whip. I've not done that much on this one because this is the last one I was touching, and I had hoped that I could, if not finished, do a significant amount on here, but obviously everything's been derailed since Wednesday, and I only managed to get a little bit. And this is Buzz Off by Plum Street. There we go. So it's this one. I am doing this on the Called For, which is 36 count vintage beeswax, which I think is R&R reproductions. And again, and I'm also using the Called For threads, which is a mix of Classic Colourworks and Weeks. Now, I say this every time, but look at the colour of the fabric in there, and look at the colour of this fabric. Nothing alike, but I love it, and I think it looks amazing. So I have worked, you'll see from the comparison, but I've just basically worked on filling in this, so I've almost finished that bottom border now. So there you go. That bird slays me every time. I think it's just so cool. So I can't wait to finish this one, because when I finish this one, then I can start the next one, which is Eat Crow, which is the Eagle on a Pumpkin. There we go. So there is that one. And that is the last of my whips. I do have a few little purchases which will only take us a few minutes. So what are we on? 57 minutes, okay. You all right down there? Bless her. All I can say about having a puppy is thank God I have a carpet cleaner, because as I said, she's pretty good at going on the pad, but every now and then if she's like meandering about the place, she'll just, and she's not outside, she'll just do it wherever. So it's had a lot of use, that carpet cleaning, in the last 2 days. Okay, purchases. I've already showed you one. The other is mainly, oops, sorry. I bought this adorable Ort catcher from a store on Etsy, and I have taken out the card of where I got it from, but there we go, look at those cats. But it's a good size one, and it's, you know, it's a really nice one. So I'll put down below in the description box where I got it from, because I've completely forgotten to grab the card that tells me where I got this from. I already told you about Supernatural, the Witchy Stitcher Sal, which starts the 1st of June. So for the first month, she'll drop on the 1st of the month the frame and give you a month to do that. So I can't wait for that. And then the other thing I got was just some 40 count Picture This Plus fabric. And this is for my restart of Halloween at Horkrun Hollow. Now, I'm not going to be able to afford to buy any more nice fabric or fancy fabric after the purchase I have just made, because to get all the accoutrement for a dog, so the crate and the beds and all that kind of stuff, boy, it's not cheap. So that is that's my birthday and Christmas is for the next 5 years sorted, and any other budget that I'd put aside for me has now been obliterated. So this is now, and I know in other times I said, oh, I'm not going to spend any more, but now I'm not going to spend any more because I'm not going to have the money to spend anymore. But I've got, you know, I went through my fabric stash and I've got enough to cover me for all the things I want to start, you know, for at least the next year. Let's just put it that way. But I do want to restart my Halloween at Hawk and Hollow. This is another one that I did on a small account. This was done on a 16 count Ada that I just bought something that, well, I didn't really think when I bought it, and although I gamely stitched on it for a while, as I was stitching it, it was like, no, I am not liking this at all. This is not something I want to put on my wall with the way this fabric looks with this, and it was really, I wasn't enjoying the experience of stitching it. And if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? But I absolutely love this pattern, as many people do. So it's Halloween at Hawk and Hollow by Carriage House Sampling. I'd done quite a bit on this middle one here, so it wasn't like I was halfway through or something, but I just decided that I didn't want to proceed with it. So I have a number of 40 count fabrics now. Now they're not all just for this. I've got a couple of projects that I want to do on 40 count, but the selection I've got is, well, let me show you. So quick reminder, so if anybody has an opinion on this, please do put something down in the comments, because I'm terrible at making this kind of decision. So this is the pattern. Okay, these are the 4 selections I've got. So I've got this lovely one called Light Dove, and this is from XD Designs. So that's actually quite true to life, that colour. So it is mottled. It's a very subtle mottle, but it is a lovely, lovely fabric. And if I don't use this on here, I have another one that I'm going to start that I will use this on. So that's option 1. Option 2 is some Valour. So this is the 28 count, but this is Picture This plus Valour. So it's a greyy green and it's the mottling is a lot. It's still subtle, but it's a lot more noticeable than that one. And this is obviously a bit more greener in colour. So that's option 2, so that's Valour, Picture This plus. And now we get to the more dramatic colours. So option 3 is Nocturn by Picture This plus. Yeah, and that is pretty to life, that. So that's a lot more dramatic. So that's option 3, that's Nocturn. And again, there's other things that I will use this for if I don't do this. And then option 4 is the even more dramatic, and this is Gothic by Picture This plus. Is it Gothic? Yeah, this is Gothic. So there you go. And again, that is, right, the lighting showing this pretty much to life. So those are my 4 options. So 1, the XD design, which is gorgeous. Well, they're all gorgeous. 2 is Valour, Picture This plus. 3 is Haunted, and 4 is Gothic. So I need to make the decision before it comes up on my whip go board, or if I decide to start it beforehand. But those are the 4 potential fabrics, 40 count fabrics that I'm going to do for it. So yeah. And then after this, no more fabric for me for quite some time, unless I win the lottery. There we go. So I think I have pretty much, yeah, I've pretty much covered everything there. Life, my parents are trucking along up in Lytham. They're, you know, still wish they lived nearer. But it is what it is. I think I'm going up. Oh, my mum, bless her. She is, well, I'm a dad as well, but it's my mum that initially made the suggestion. But so my cat, who has diabetes, she's doing really, really well. The insulin is still, you know, night and day. She's just in how she is. That's been amazing. But Christmas especially, I tend to stay over at my parents' house, and I was saying, look, you know, with the cat as it is, I don't want to be messing about and missing. And in fact, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. I had a cat previously who had diabetes, and she had, and she was with me for about 7 years while she had diabetes. It was, you know, other than once or twice when it was a dire emergency, I never once missed one of her injections. So they're injected twice a day, and I never missed an injection. It may have been a little bit late or whatever, but it was never missed. I just thought it was unfair. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know for some people they've got no choice and blah blah blah, and that's what I'm saying, but I was in a position in my life where I could make sure I could make that decision to not miss it. You know, I've not got kids and things like that, so I could do that. And I said to my mum, look, you know, I'd have to go, I wouldn't be able to stay over. And the first thing my mum was like, you can bring the cat. And this, you know, my mum is not a have cats staying over type of person, but straight away, without hesitating, you can bring the cat for however long you need to, you know, and you know that it'll be fine. And then when I got the dog, you can bring the dog. I mean, my dad's overjoyed because he loves dogs, but you know, my mum is I'm not going to say a neat freak, but she likes things, and you know, because they've not got pets anymore themselves, she likes everything to be just so. So I know this would be her idea of, but no, she was lovely. She was like, you can bring the dog, don't worry about it, and bless her. So yeah, and I've just lost my train of thought. What was I actually saying? Where was I going with this? What am I doing? Who am I? Where am I? No, so my parents, that's what I was saying. My parents are fine. Job is good. You know, everything's going okay there. So it's allowed me to do my dream of getting a dog. So I'm doing good. Hoping that I can get, you know, on top of what I discussed at the beginning of the video, but other than that, yeah, it's great. I don't know when I'm going to be stitching again though. Hoping it's going to be soon, because I've got all this stuff that I want to stitch that I'm desperate to stitch. But there's hope, because like I said, she's very chilled, and when I'm sat where I normally do my stitching, I've been sat there with her at the moment just watching something on telly, and she'll kind of shuffle along on the cushion and just lie there quietly. So my hope is that if I do start stitching, she'll do the same, or she'll be on the floor by my feet. So fingers crossed on that. But yeah, I think I'll wrap it up there. Oh damn it, I was hoping this was going to be under an hour. Why can I not get them to under an hour? One day. I hope you are all well. I hope you're enjoying your stitching, that you and yours are all safe and well, and that I will see you again in a couple of weeks. And if you've enjoyed watching this, if you've made it all the way to the end, I probably should have said this at the beginning, but please do like, and if you're a new viewer or a viewer who's not yet subscribed, please do subscribe and possibly give me a thumbs up. And any questions or any comments, just pop them down below. And as I said, I always do eventually respond to them. It may take a couple of days, but please know that I read them all, and I really do appreciate each and every single one of them and each and every single one of you. So I will hopefully see you in 3 weeks, but don't hold me to it. If I've not done much stitching in that time, I won't do a video, so it might be a month or so, but I will be back. And if I have any other finishes or anything like that, I'll post them on Instagram, so you can keep up to date with me on there if you want to. Details for that are down below. Okay, I'm going to go and enjoy my Sunday now and get some breakfast because is it 11 o'clock? Oh boy, it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to get some breakfast and get this one outside just in case. So I'll speak to you soon.